Hello everyone. So we have already seen how to write Python functions, and let's start writing some functions. Okay. Let's say we have a right angle triangle. Okay, right triangle. So we have so we have, say, this is B, and say this is A. This is the right angle 90 degrees, and this is our hypotenuse. Say maybe C is the hypotenuse. So now suppose we are only given A and B, we need to find C. So we know that we can do it simply is C, right? So if I write a function for that, it's very straightforward. We can just return this. And similarly, if you want to, say, calculate the area, is basically, suppose if I do this as a square, which is as a rectangle, so A into B will be the area. So for the triangle, the area will be half of that, right? Half into base into height A. And if I want to calculate the perimeter, which is perimeter will be A times B times C, and for that we actually need this C. So suppose now if we write all those things as functions, let us write as a script rather than, so we say vi so if we say vi so what we say, so we do maybe like what we want to call, we can call it as vi maybe right triangle dot py, right? And so we'll say functions to function to do calculations maybe on a right triangle, something like that. So let us say first function was to find the hypotenuse, right? Say hypotenuse, say we give A and B, and it has to find C. So C is basically A to the power of 2 plus B to the power of 2, and all square root is basically to the power of half, right? Or I can say 0.5. So then I just say return C. So if we want to test it, what do we do? I can say print hypotenuse maybe 3 4, right? Which, so we get 5, which is right. So that is first one. Second one was that we will say perimeter, right? Perimeter is, say, A and B, so we need C. So C is equal to, if we want, hypotenuse of A comma B, and so I can return A plus B plus C, right? I believe it is it's simple to follow. We basically is using this function So this function is calling this function as usual. So we can call a function from other function. So something new, we haven't done that before, I believe, or maybe we have done. And so now the area, right, will be say AB, right? So I can just say return half BH, right? Half is 0.5 times base is our, I believe base would be, and area half BH. So that's, so we have three functions here. So now the point is here on the same triangle, okay, all of this is dealing with the same idea of a right angle triangle, right? So everything, so we have three things we wrote, three ideas on the same triangle, and depending upon the task that you are handed with or that you want to solve, you may have on the same object, same thing, you may have multiple things on the same like I say, here is a triangle, you may have to do multiple things, you know, and when we have to do that, so if I want to somehow to, if I want somehow to improve improve this, what would be my strategy? Like you know, so to improve the readability, just say that is the first aim. So you have many different functions for different things. Suppose if I want to group somehow, what I can do is I can use something called class, and I say class, and say this is a right angle say triangle, so I can say triangle, and as like a right, our famous colon. So this is our definition class, and then I say I group, I put all my functions under this definition 1, definition 2, definition 3. Now once I do this, what is the use? Now I say that this is all of these operations are belonging to this idea, right? This class, right? Triangle, the same object, or I'm just grouping all these functions at one place. And now how, what is the use? I can say, I can, if I want to pull it up, I can just say right triangle, and I qualify it with a dot, and just say suppose this is a f1 here, f2, and so on, f1, and then I can say right triangle dot f2. I qualify with a period. So it's like the f1 belongs to our right triangle, f2 belongs to this class right triangle, and f3 belongs there. So if you have like 10 functions, or you know, so now let us use that idea here. So how we do it? So what I did was I just said only nothing. I just said here I am going to write class, right, and say right triangle is a name, you can call triangle, R triangle, all the rules that or right triangle 1, right triangle 2, all the rules of a variable applies here as well. Like it's a Python variable, right triangle, R triangle. So I can just maybe, right, I indent it. So now so in order to get this, right, in order to get say hypotenuse, how do I do it? I qualify it with, I say right triangle dot, right, hypotenuse. Let's see if it works. Yes, just to be, let's make it a little bit pretty. So hypotenuse equal to so if I, so this is one way, one of my here the strategy is to say to improve So it improves, say, at least I organized in some sense. So that is the 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 uh, the thing that you just immediately get from there. So I organized all into one class. So now to just let's just think about it a little bit more, and let's go a little bit further from here and just say after, we don't know, yeah. So here now if I say a class right triangle, right, I have three things. So suppose I have, say, one first triangle is 3 4, so another triangle maybe 5 10, right, something. So I have three triangles for T1, RT1, maybe right triangle 2, right triangle 3. So I have three triangles here. So now all, says I can suppose if I construct, if I want to do some all these calculations, so how do I say, I say I want to go, I need to remember this, say 3 4. I just don't, I can't just say as a, not a, as a passing number. I want to keep on referring back 3 4 5 10 3 11. So the normal thing that we have learned is, what I would do, I would say RT1 of A equal to 3, RT1 B equal to 4, RT1 C will be, I don't know what, we can calculate using the function we wrote, and here also RT2 A is equal to 5, RT2 B equal to 10, and so on, right? That's what we do. So now suppose if you have 10 triangles and I want all of them, I have like at least 20 variables to deal with it, right? And also it's like your my script is full of, it's a rain of variables. So let's say I would like to, similarly I referred this hypotenuse here, say I said right triangle dot hypotenuse. Somehow if I can attach these variables to this RT1, this A and B to this RT2, like the same similar fashion, like say I say if I want to do something like RT1 dot A, RT2 dot B, so RT3, so sorry, RT1 and RT2 dot A, RT2 dot B is 10. So if I want to refer like that, now I can also the function, if I can attach somehow to RT1 object, say the hypotenuse, and so on and so forth. So we have to, so here what I'm doing, I have RT1 as a right triangle and RT2 is another triangle. So anytime I want, I can just say dot A dot B. Again here also dot A dot B, and it is referring to RT2. This B is referring to the side of RT2, and this B here is attached to RT1. So AB, see I have only two variables, and each of the triangle is represented by RT1, RT2, RT3, etc. So if I want to do that, if you little bit of if you modify the code a little bit, we'll be able to do that. Let us see how to do that, right? So what I want to do it is, so I am going to say, maybe let us see. So I'm gonna hash this out. If I want to go back here, maybe it's okay, let's start over. So let us say go back here. Let's start simply. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to define a special method. This is just a function, but I have to see, remember, two underscores, not one underscore, another underscore, and I say initialize the class init, and again I'm close with two underscores, and the first method, the first argument to this special function inside this class, I'm going to say self. Self is referring to the same class, the right triangle. So, and then I have same thing, a and b, as a new additional thing which we can pass to that. Now I want to write self dot a equal to a, which basically I'm referring to attaching this outside a, which is not sticking to anything. I'm attaching that. I'm saying this has self, the triangle rt1, for example, the new one that we are going to create, has an attribute called a. Similarly, self.b, I can do whatever I want. So let us do 2, okay? And now this will give us error. So now let us, how do we use it, right? I'll say I'm going to create, I'd say I'm going to, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create my first triangle, an instance of this class, we will call it. I'm going to say, I want to call it like a function, right triangle. And then I'm going to say, so this self, as I said, is referring back to the same class. So I don't have to pass that now. So that is referring to this instance that we are going to create. So I have to pass 3 and 4. So now I created a new instance, or a right triangle object, and I call it as rt1, and it has now got two things. When you call this, when I do this step here, I call it like a function. What it's basically calling is this function when I do this. So this is created, then immediately it's attaching to this rt1 a and b. So you have self dot a, self dot b. Now to rt1 attached, let us see, we can see that. So let us see if we can do print my attributes. So I'll say rt1 dot a, rt1 dot b. See, so 3 and 4, right? This is 3 and this is 4, because this 3 is going to a, 4 is going to b. And as I said, I don't need to do the self. The self is referring to rt1. So rt1 dot a is a now, which I passed here, this 3, and rt1 dot b is this 4. It is going from here. So now I got those two. So now I can also pick up my I can pick up my functions and attach that one as well. So how do I do it? So I say, I have here, maybe space, I have here a and b is already self dot a, self dot b. I don't need that, but I need to attach to the self. So my first argument will be a and b. So now a becomes what? A is here, become self dot a. Use my self dot a, and this is self dot b. All right. And so it returns C, and let us like to try that one. So here I am going to here say for example, suppose I want to calculate the hypotenuse, right? How do I, first of all, I created rt1, and let us see if it is already there. Print rt1, right, dot hype, right? Let us see if that is there. Yes, you see, it's called, it's a, already there's a method, so it's already attached to that. So now how do I say? I have to just say parentheses, right? Because I can just say rt1 dot hypotenuse and the hyp, and then this is empty here because this self is already rt1, right? It's from, and then it is using already attached to self here. In this case, rt1 has an a, rt1 has a b, then it is returning me back. So let us try that. So it's 5, right? So it's working. So similarly, we can, what we can do, we can also put other two other things here. Right. So what do we have? So now I put other two, and again modify this perimeter. A and B is already, we are attached to their self, so just self there. And so here hypotenuse is not just hypotenuse, it is coming from the self, and A and B again is self dot A, self dot B, and this is self dot A, self dot B, and C is this C itself. It is nothing to attach to anything, but if you want, we can create here self dot C is equal to nothing, none, or like an empty thing or 0, and then it will be attached. So, and here again this guy here, so yes, self dot B, self dot A, which we don't need, so we don't need it because already attached, so self, and then this is self dot A, B. So we have hypotenuse, perimeter, areas. If you want to just test all of the them too, I can just here say rt1 has now what, perimeter and empty parentheses, we don't have to pass anything, rt1 dot area, right? Now let us see. So perimeter, so this guy here, we don't have to pass anything, right? Because this perimeter self, right? Perimeter self has self dot hypotenuse, right? So this self is already attached, and this function is picking up the A and B from self itself. So it doesn't, as the same thing as here, we are not passing anything except 3 and 4 because self is already there. So if you look at here, self dot hypotenuse, just use that because it's already taking this as from the pulling this A and B from self. So I don't need to pass that. So we got, yeah, 5. So the good thing about, so now the use, right? So let us say rt1, right? rt1, now I can create a new triangle, right? rt2 equal to right triangle, yeah, right triangle, yeah, maybe say 10, 11, right? And I can use the same piece of code, right? And I say rt2 dot area, rt2 dot area, rt2 dot thing. So I can see I have all the three items. So now the point is that rt1 attached to rt1, I have rt1 dot side A, rt1 dot side B, and similarly for rt2. So if I can create as many triangle object as art triangle object as I want, and then I can keep on putting things. So I have somehow put my data and the processing logic together in one place inside right triangle. So once again, I have put my data, which are my sides. It can be big. At the moment I have two sides, and I have also put the processing logic, which is my function, which are my functions, and I have put all of them together in one place. The point is, the person that using this doesn't need to know what is going on here, right? You just need to know how to use it. So I can hide all my things from the all the complexities of this. The person who actually wants to code, calculate the area or things, he needs to just know this right triangle 3 4 till 11 and just call the name of the functions. So I don't have to complicate my things. So I have encapsulated all things, and it is hidden from the user who is doing the who's actually using it. So that is the idea. And now if you want, you can also here, as I said, I can say self dot perimeter, self dot all those stuff. So I don't have to, once I calculate it, it will once it is created, it will all be saved on the self object. So let us say so this is the idea of the classes in Python. There are some few ideas here like self, and this is the new thing, self and the init, and this is our instance of this class, and here this is our pass new new arguments when you call the function. This is what is called when you do this. This is actually being called. In this case it initializes self dot a and self dot b, and this is coming from outside, which is this 3 and 4. So there are some new ideas and some new way of thinking and putting things together. I believe it was easy to follow. If not, it will get clearer as we go along. I wanted to really introduce it because we will start seeing dot. Now we will go back and use, maybe forget this. Just remember that this dot means something is attached to something, and it's something called class, and we will come and revisit this as we go forward. And thank you for watching. If you like, please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you so much. Bye.